Hello everybody, it's Wyvern here with another bit of Total War Warhammer 2 quick match gameplay. This time around I'm playing as Dark Elves against the High Elves led by Ironic Dragon on the map Athel Tamara. And doing a bit of a kiting build, but this time around against High Elves, and it's going to be against a conventional build, so no cheese on cheese. I guess let's just kind of see how things break down. Obviously going to be very micro intensive, probably I'll do my best to keep up with everything and all that sort of stuff. So right off the bat, for my Lord, I did take Marathi, simply because she's very mobile on Sulafet, and also because she does bring and Malcos Mystify Miasma to slow enemies down. She does have Soul Stealer just to do damage to single targets. She can debuff enemies with Heartrender and Darksword, as well as Enchanting Beauty, and of course does have Deadly Onslaught, just a very decent Lord. Does have Armor Piercing without needing to be mounted on the Dragon. Just a decent all-around Lord, really. Now, my main combat contingent really is all Shades. I did not bring any infantry. The Elves don't have Dark Elves don't have any Vanguard infantry. Their only Vanguard options are, of course, Dark Riders as well as Shades. So, and there's of course two variants of Dark Riders. And I do believe Harpies have Vanguard, but I did not bring any of them. So I did bring 6 units of Vanilla Shades. That's the max you can bring. Because of course there are unit limits in Warhammer 2. These guys have very solid melee stats. You can see 40 melee attack, 32 melee defense, decent weapon strength at 30. No armor basically, and there's only 60 of them in the unit. So if they lose models, the DPS suffers, but their missile damage is very high. They've got 34 DPS per model, or DP, I guess damage per 10 seconds, DPTS or something. I don't know how to say it, but damage per 10 seconds. And then okay range at 130, just not a lot of ammo. But with that high DPS, you're kind of hoping that you'll bring your enemy down before that happens. And then out here on the flank, I do have kind of a more specialized or more combat-oriented unit with two units of Shades with great swords, and a unit of Shades with dual weapons. And these guys have the Shades with great swords actually have armor piercing and a bonus against infantry. The Shades with dual weapons have just a bonus against infantry. Just very solid combat units overall. Otherwise, they're basically the same as normal Shades. Finally, 2 units of Dark Riders with shields. These guys are just there to get into the enemy backline if they bring a lot of shooting. Otherwise, they're there to just body block enemy infantry trying to interfere. My opponent brought a pretty standard, I think, high elf build, though a little light on the shooting, which was in some ways fortunate, in some ways unfortunate for me, and definitely very elite as far as infantry is concerned. So 3 units of Lothran Seaguard, but the unshielded variant. Normally, high elves, because of their superior range, can just dominate the ranged combat, so they don't necessarily have to worry too much about shields. And it is points that you can spend on something else, potentially. Then my opponent did bring Tyrion, and Tyrion is coming in with Fainter Brost, Sunfang, though interestingly enough, I don't believe he did bring Heart of Avalon. I was about to say he didn't bring it, but it's just for some reason positioned over there. And of course Tyrion is actually on foot, which is a little surprising. That'll make him a very hard target, and I actually didn't notice this in the game. Then there are there's a mix of White Lines of Krace alongside Swordmasters of Hoeth here, and these guys actually all have some sort of missile resistance. White Lines of Krace have missile resistance. Swordmasters of Hoeth have bronze shields, and in the back a unit of Phoenix Guard, who of course has Fear and are just an immensely powerful unit in general. Finally, up here, a Frostheart Phoenix to provide debuffs, terror bombs, that sort of stuff. Definitely a very elite army. So let's see how things break down. Now you can see immediately my poor Dark Rider. I turned off auto fire on all my Shades because I didn't want them wasting shots at something. You can see my poor Dark Riders take a nasty volley there, and despite their shields, they take a lot of HP hit. Now the Lothran Seaguard here gets unloaded upon by that volley and loses a few models in the process. And you can see at this point I'm setting up a crossfire. The 3 units of Elite Shades over here, and the 3 units of Vanilla Shades over here are just slugging out with the Lothran Seaguard, though unfortunately this unit of Shades is getting focused down. And I need to shoot down the enemy ranged fire. That's my priority target, so I can't really afford to pull these guys out of the firing line. You can see over here these poor Lothran Seaguard are just getting annihilated. You can see I'm trying to position the Dark Riders underneath the Phoenix just to intercept it when it lands. I should have spread these guys out a little sooner. And you can see the fact that I didn't spread out quite enough is definitely going to bite me in the rear here as Tyrion just plows into these guys and starts tearing through them. If I'd spread out a little better, I would have definitely been in a better position. Unfortunately, Tyrion, of course, will just cleave through these guys very quickly because I can't really shoot him when he's on foot. Well, I can, but he has to be at a distance. He's a very small model. Now over here you can see these Shades have taken a nasty beating, so I do try to pull them back a little bit just to distract enemy fire. You can see these guys have broken off. You can see I'm trying to get these Dark Riders around the flank. They've already lost a few models to these White Lines of Krace, so I'm trying to get them around the flank and at this Lothran Seaguard. In the meantime, over here my opponent is just kind of piling in with Phoenix Guard as well as he's Frostheart Phoenix, and unfortunately my Shades are being blocked, I do believe, and just aren't able to fire. So when I start firing on the Phoenix Guard, who has kind of encircled me, I do pop a Soul Stealer over here on Tyrion, and just focus on kind of whittling him down with my Shades. Unfortunately, once again, because he's on foot, he's definitely going to be a difficult target to hit. He does pop stand your ground and feint and riposte, which will make him a very tough target to deal with. And of course, eventually he does have the Heart of Averlorn if things do go south, far enough south, so I definitely need to keep that in mind. In the meantime, you can see that I'm definitely focusing on these white lines of Krace. You can see I'm trying to focus out all these high priority targets like the Swordmasters of Hoeth, and Phoenix Guard, all that sort of stuff. These guys, most of these, the Phoenix Guard don't have shields, so they're just going to get absolutely shredded by that, so I have heavy armor piercing damage. See, I threw some Dark Riders into Lothern Sea Guard. That is nowhere near an ideal fight, because Dark Riders have pretty terrible stats, and they're large. So against the anti-large Lothern Sea Guard, they'll do pretty atrocious. But now you can see things are definitely degenerating a bit. I have thrown Marathi at Tyrion, just trying to shut him down. Because he's very badly beaten up, and you can see the crossfire just pouring in from all sides, from all these shades, and I'm trying to just divide and conquer my opponent. Because I have a lot of shooting. In the meantime, my Dark Riders are trying to shut down this Froststar Phoenix, and you can see I make a mistake here and allow my Shades with Great Swords to get engaged upon by the Swordmaster of Hoeth, which is definitely a fight I don't want to be taking, so I'm going to try to disengage and just run away. In the meantime, these Dark Riders do get pincered, and they basically get massacred. Very few of them get away. And I'm simply trying to just kite at this point and stay away from my opponent. Marathi actually did not trade very effectively with Tyrion, which is not surprising. He's a very solid melee combatant. But now he's routed off, so I should be able to just pursue him off the field, especially because he's on foot. And in the meantime, some of my shades are coming back from routing, and I'll be able to recover them and start throwing them back into the fight. There's still a few models left, and every model counts when dealing with DPS, or trying to maximize new DPS. So the rest of Hoeth over here have given up their chase of the shades with great swords, but because my attention is just separated over this very wide expanse, I don't actually notice immediately. Over here, the Phoenix is trying to disentangle itself from the Dark Riders, who are just trying to stay on top of it and shut it down. And definitely not doing the greatest jobs of it. They don't do a lot of damage, and they're just gonna get shredded here pretty badly. You can see it does tear through, and they look like it's just gonna fall apart pretty soon. Shades though are getting disentangled. They're gonna fire off some volleys. Obviously, this is a very micro-intensive match. You can see my opponent is trying to cut off. My opponent is trying to encircle my units. He's trying to cut them off in the corners, and if he can pick off unit after unit, he might stand a chance, because he could definitely cut into my DPS. Over here you can see Tyrion has gone down to the combined fire of Shades and Marathi. I do cast Melkoth's Mystifying Miasma on Lothern Sea Guard. It's a little bit like Fate of Buna against lightly armored targets like that. Not as effective, but decent. And you can see my Dark Riders are coming back in. I'm trying to get on top of this Lothern Sea Guard, trying to get him on top of all these guys, and push these Shades back into the fray and all that sort of stuff. Just apply pressure from all sides. In the meantime, these poor Shades with Great Swords are routing off or retreating as fast as their little legs can carry them, and they'll be caught by the Froststar Phoenix. And then the Swordmasters, who are definitely a huge problem. In the meantime, though, this arc of Shades is setting itself up, and is going to start wailing on these white lines of Krace, who simply don't have the survivability to deal with so much armor piercing. Over here, on the other side, I have popped Tomb in Darkness, in fact, on the white lines of Krace just to attempt to force a route. The Lothern Sea Guard starts wavering, and they will follow these guys into the route as well. You can see I actually did cast a Soul Stealer on this blob of units here to heal, and that's why Marathi's healed up a decent amount. Shades over here are still firing away. Just going to whittle these guys down a little bit, and then I'm going to send Marathi after him. And I'm going to start pulling these units off the fight, and to deal with this bottom flank, which is definitely still very much contested. Marathi will pursue. These Shades are closing here, trying to wipe out this Lothern Sea Guard. I'm going to take these Shades down here and start pincering these guys. You can see my opponent does throw his Froststar Phoenix in against some of these Shades, but you can see it's not doing the Froststar Phoenix is not the best offensively. It's a fairly survivable unit, with decent armor, built-in, I do believe, built-in physical resist of some sort. Actually, just a built-in ward save by the look of it. Attuned to magic. And so it's just a very survivable unit, all things considered, but definitely not capable of doing the damage it needs to. Over here, the Dark Riders are doing their best to just chase these white lines away, though they will, I do believe they get... Actually, it looks like my opponent had a slight lapse of micro here on the Swordmaster of Hoeth. We're not shutting these guys down, so the Dark Riders do get some free damage here. And now my opponent's army does simply shatter. So Pyrrhic victory definitely was a rough game. It was a very tense, micro-intensive match. You can see the Lothern Sea Guard did ridiculous amounts of hurt. Not entirely surprisingly, they of course probably tore through these guys. Chances are they tore through the Dark Riders. Lothern Sea Guard and honestly most Elven archers will definitely lay the smackdown on Shades in a straight-up fight, because their DPS, while maybe not comparable, they're definitely a lot cheaper, so you can field a lot more of them, and they outrange the Shades by a decent amount. Well, there's just not enough of them, and honestly, it's hard to field because you can do an all Shade army because Shades are decent in melee. You can't do an all archer army, and all Lothern Sea Guard is, I guess, doable, but that's very expensive. So the Shades here performed very well. Some of them you can see did absolutely brutal work. Dark Riders did their job, which was blocking the enemy. And Marathi did an okay job as well, helping shut down Tyrion, helping cast some support spells, that sort of stuff. For my opponent, definitely his Alton Seaguard were the MVPs there. These other units, Swordmaster of Hoth did try to cap close, but I was pretty good, I think, about staying away. And that's just a very micro-intensive sort of playstyle when you mass Shades. You cannot afford to allow your troops to get caught up in melee, at least not until your enemy's been softened up enough. Once they've been softened up enough, especially Shades with Great Swords, for example, will actually out-trade and basically any unit in the game. For example, if you do if you just do a straight-up fight between Hargoneth Executioners and Shades, and just have the Hargoneth Executioner charge the Shades and let them fire a few volleys into them as they approach, because or however many volleys they get in, Shades will actually win the fight against Hargoneth Executioners in a straight-up melee with Shades with Great Swords. So they're definitely not a pushover unit. If you can soften your enemies up, of course, High Elves, once they lose martial prowess or martial mastery, they become much weaker. And Shades can easily manhandle their more lightly armored units, and Shades with Great Swords can tear through even the heavily armored stuff. So definitely a good game to my opponent. It was definitely tight, definitely pretty fun. I do hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. If you have any comments, criticism, any questions, then be sure to post those down in the comments, and I'll respond as soon as I can. As usual, guys, I do appreciate you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now.